Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey everyone.
Good afternoon,
Very
sir.
good afternoon. Good afternoon, Shashmita. So how are you guys?
We are fine, sir. How are you?
Great, sir.
Okay, great. So can also we have your screen, your video open? So I'll request each and every student that if you can please open your videos. Great. Because I love to see people on screen because it's a virtual call. So it will be a virtual session. And so may I know how many participants are there?
So till now it's 30. It will be increased soon.
Okay, great. So guys, I welcome all of you for this interesting session. Actually, why I'm actually calling it as an interesting session because this is one of the sessions which will really help you in driving your career within a span of within a span of an year till a decade or in next 15-20 years. So initially I would also like to thank Mr. Obaid and to all the faculty members for Jamia Hamdard who actually provided me an opportunity to basically showcase my knowledge, and also uh, I believe this platform is quite essential to basically groom students about what exactly our industries, what exactly our industry is currently being, pitched upon, and how we are actually, working in. So I believe this is a quite an important, session for us. And from my side, I also believe that this is a type of responsibility and a gift to, society, like what all experience we have actually tried to gain in these 12 years of mine. So I'll try to leverage this to my best of knowledge and to my best of potentials. Shushmita, thank you so much for your efforts. I truly appreciate your proactiveness, and I
Welcome,
also
sir. And
request
thank
you, and if you can just open your video also. I want each and
Sir,
every
actually,
student if
I
they can
have.
open your video.
Yes, sir, I have actually.
Okay, great. So also if you can just maximize the screen for these slides.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Great. So I believe we are having an option at the bottom right. So where you can see the third tab, just left to that percentage number.
So I
The
have
one where
actually
it's been.
maximized the screen, but it's taking a bit of time, I think, because of the network
Okay,
issue.
maybe because of the file size, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Maybe.
So I think we should proceed without wasting any further time because we are having a time crunch and time is money. And I request all of you to please mute in yourself because we're having a background noises. Sure. And just proceeding with this session. So we'll be taking 10 minutes at the last to have your Q&A questions and your queries. So I would also request all the students to basically to instigate your questions at the pop-up box, so that one of you guys can basically go through the questions and then I can answer them at the end of the session. Great.
Yes,
So
sir.
can
So sorry to interrupt you, but I would like to ask Samir. He would like to give a small introduction. So please, Samir,
Thank you
start.
so much, Sushmita.
Okay.
So, a very pleasant afternoon to everyone.
right? My name is Samir, and on behalf of the Department of Healthcare and Pharmaceutical Management, SMBS Jamia Hamdard, I welcome our respected speaker of the day, Mr. Nikhil Sharma, a senior manager of the Adamet Next LLP. I welcome our faculty and all the students in today's Industry Connect Series 2022 to help you learn, understand, and become proficient by enhancing your practical knowledge on the role of competitive intelligence in pharma industry. We shall be learning about the ability to gather and use information on factors that affect a company's competitive advantage in the pharmaceutical industry. Towards the end of the session, we'll have a small Q&A where you are free to come forward and ask your doubts from Nikhil sir. So without wasting any time, let us proceed one step closer to dive deep into the topic. I would like to introduce Mr. Nikhil Sharma, a very distinguished speaker who is currently serving as the senior manager at Adamet Next LLP and is a proud alumnus of Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. Sir is a young, dynamic, and self-motivated person and has a strong mindset favoring a comprehensive understanding of the subject. He is always spirited to prove his worth by the use of attributes like words, wit, and quality. As a CI professional, he holds over a decade of experience in both primary and secondary analysis, thereby helping professional customers to make critical strategic decisions. Sir, thank you so much for your benign presence. We are blessed to have you here as you hold tremendous industry experience. Now, I request you to please take over from here and share your knowledge, experience, and values with us.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you so much for this brief orientation, and it was lovely, and this was quite encouraging and motivating also. And rightly said, because after a decade of experience, everyone tends to become, motivated, and they are having an instinctive drive to carry their, professional, to basically carry their professional process throughout their time span. And I also expect that this session will be truly helpful for our students to basically build their own brand when they will be coming to when they will be onboarding with their job roles, and they will be creating a self brand which will be helping our future students to basically prove our worth, and to basically prove our what I can say, the metal, like the Jamia students, they are not less when it has been compared to the other pointed colleges and the institutes across India. So thank you so much for this orientation. So I would like to begin with our session. Shushmita, so can we move on to the slide? So the topic of our talk is the role of competitive intelligence in pharma industry. Can we move on to the fourth slide? Great. So the topics which we are aiming to focus is the introduction to competitive intelligence. What is the role of CI in driving strategic decisions and driving market dynamics? What exactly are the tools through which we can carry out competitive intelligence? What are the offerings we can support the CI? And then I have some Q&A sessions, quizzes, and some of the case studies, which will actually help you to analyze how exactly the CI is actually helping our big pharma companies across the globe to drive the key strategic decisions. Great. So I just want to ask some of the students that are you having some questions viewing at this particular slide, why we are having two hordes of horses of the chessboard as an the pick layout of the slide. So anyone?
Sir, basically it's because competitive intelligence basically deals with in order to learn about our competitors. So competitor means here two horses, like it says the two horses of a chess. So one is a competitor of other. So we have taken both the face of the horses in a way that they are competing with each other. So we are studying about the competitive intelligence. So we are given these images.
Okay, I appreciate your attempt, Danish. So you are actually quite right in this sense, because but now the case is here the horses are parallel, and we know in this game of chess that the horses can't move parallel, so they have to move diagonally. Means like 2.5 steps. So the basically the step is the idea is like everyone is playing their own game, but no one is aware actually who is doing what at what time. So this is the idea. And what I'll be doing in this particular session, I'll be explaining you what is exactly the CI is, and I'll try to leverage my 11 to 12 years of experience, not only in terms of making you understand regarding the technical expertise, pharma brand consulting, blah blah blah, but I'll be try to make sure that you are trying that you guys are able to absorb what exactly this process is, so that you can actually inculcate these learnings not only in your professional endeavors, but also in your in terms of your personal work life also. Great. So before moving to the seventh slide, I would just like to revise the time clock, and I would also just like to showcase like I think most of you guys most of you people, I hope you have attended my previous topics also, sessions. So that was basically aiming to understand what exactly are the strategies and what exactly are the key components for a powerful launch of a drug. So basically, to basically having a powerful launch of a drugs, we need a valuable information. We need certain type of offerings. So the different types of offerings are. So can we go on to the seventh slide? Here it is. So there are different types of business offerings which we are providing to our customers. So who are actually our customers to whom we are actually providing these offerings? So these are basically some of the blue chip pharma companies. Minded, the blue chip pharma companies are those companies which are having a revenue of above the billions. So I assume that although India has a big pharma market, but our R&D, our R&D background and our R&D plethora is not so diverse when we compare it with the US and Europe. So basically, we are heavily dependent on generics. Now, what are generics? The generics are basically the number of the SKQs will be pitching in to our patients, the more revenue we'll be creating it. But when it comes to spending of R&D, this is much meager when it compares to the big pharma companies like GSK, Roche, Novartis, or Pfizer, where they actually try to spend billions of dollars and billions of pounds to basically inculcate their life cycle process during the drug discovery and lead optimization. So that's why these companies are called as a blue chip companies, because they don't mind offering billions of money, and they don't mind offering spending a billions of money in conducting these data analysis and which can help them to drive the key strategic decision. So there are 7 to 8 offerings what we actually provide as vendors. So some of them are competitive intelligence, forecasting, business intelligence. BI is based on the historical data. Then there is a sales force effectiveness, and there's a medical writing, which is related to the clinical trial protocols and clinical study research. Then we have health evidence and outcome research, which is mainly related to pooled analysis of the products and the literature review and the publication analysis. Then we have the market access and pricing data, which basically helps to understand the payers' behavior across each and every country, how exactly the public and the private payers and the insurance companies they are dealing with uh, the patients and with the manufacturers of the pharma companies to basically provide the drugs at a very subsidized cost. Then there is a pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance roles comes into play when the drug is actually into the market, and we need to basically monitor the adverse events, and we need to assess the risk to benefit ratio. Okay, now here I'll be starting with the competitive intelligence. Now, basically, so there is no definition about it. So competitive intelligence is basically, so as you can, it is quite evident through the words also, the competition and the intelligence. So we all know that how we are actually trying to create an the intelligence, procedure. Intelligence procedure has been created through a robust study of data. Like for example, if you are, you are having your exam, so you try to build up your, your own planning. You actually try to plan yourself. You create some, strategies that how will be approaching to this particular exam. Like for example, you are aware that these topics are of a quite high interest, and surely we are expecting that these topics are having a huge likelihood to basically, to basically coming as a questions. Then you will be focusing on some of the key chapters, the key drugs, and then you will be, planning your timings that I have to basically study 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 2 hours a day. And that also depends upon how much you have actually, have knowledge about that particular subject at the past also. So this is all the planning what you did. And when you go for an exam, you try to understand all the data, and then just before the exam, you try to culminate all your learnings and findings at a one surface conscious. And when your exam come, and then you try to write the answers. So these are called as the insights or analysis. And we need to ensure that the right information is going at a right place. Okay, so may I know what exactly this term is being called as? Anyone? If we need to ensure that a right information needs to go at a right person, at a right place. So what exactly that word is called as? So this is called as the
Sorting of
what I can
information.
say. Anyone else?
Authentication.
It's authentication. You can say broadcasting. You can say. So these are some of the keywords. We can say one other word I can say propagate, and another word we can say in our industrial terms is what I can say substantially migrating to the customers. So you can't, write your answers of when you're having a chemistry exam, you can't write the answers of physics, although you are having a good knowledge and you are having a good background. So it needs to go at a right person. Then your examiner will be trying to evaluate your answers, and then they will be making a key factors. They will be assessing your sheet, and then they will be try to make a decision out of it. Like this student is he's an expert or he's an average in this student. So this process is basically, it is quite correlated to the actual competitive process what we go in this particular pharma world or any other vertical. So as you can say, first of all, we need to have the full knowledge about the market. We need to have the right data extraction. Then we need to culminate all the data. We need to have the data wrangling. What is this data wrangling means? Data wrangling means you have a plethora of an information from the ocean of sources. You are having an information from the publications. You are basically having an information from the press releases. You are having an information from different medical conferences. You have connected with different KOLs like key opinion leaders and the subject matter experts. You have also gone through the annual reports of the companies, investor releases, and then based on that, you then actually try to bring that each information at a one platform or at a one point. So that is called as the data wrangling. And when you try to study that and when you try to absorb that particular data, you tend to create your own opinions and insights. So these are called as basically the actionable insights what you create, and these actionable insights will be helping to basically create competitive these competitive insights will help to create the competitive uh, uh, mm, advantage for your customers, and which will be helping to drive a key strategic decisions for their company. So how exactly this value chain actually we grow. Next slide. Okay, so why actually I have tried to segregate this competitive intelligence overall versus the competitive intelligence in pharma industry. Guys, you know that the this industry, it is quite evolving, and it is it is quite dynamic. It is not static. When actually I had actually when I had finished my M.Pharm, so that at that point of time we were basically having a huge demand of the NCE and the solid drugs, the biops products and the vaccines, although they were there, but uh, so they were basically confined to a limited scope. But after 10 to 11 years, what I am forcing is like the NC drugs, they are being actually replaced by the bio products, vaccines, monoclonal antibodies, and the the generic versions of these biops products, the biosimilars, what we called as. So this is quite important to basically understand this market on a timely basis. And the CI, it is an ongoing process. So we need to plan the things properly. We need to identify our key intelligence topics. We need to identify our key customers, disseminate our products. Like for example, to whom we have to share this info, like regulatory info we need to share with the brand managers, we need to share with our regulatory team, while the clinical information we need to share with our clinical research team, the clinical development managers. The real world evidence information we need to share with our brand managers and with our marketing team, while the information regarding the mergers and acquisition, any recent developments in terms of technology, we need to share with our early research stage team people, or with our or with those people who are into the big size, who is actually the CEO of the company, to understand that whether that particular company we can have the merger and collaborations, or we can invest as the venture capital for those companies. So identifying the right customers for the right information is critical. Disseminating the information is quite important. So basically, one of the examples and one of the oldest company who was conducting a pharmaceutical CI is called as an acute. So what is this term is acute? So acute is basically the term which basically analyze or assess the competition across the area, and based on that they try to predict the future outcome, which basically helps the pharma companies to proactively understand like how they can basically switch their plannings as per the needs of the market. So that's exactly the term which is what has been called as an acute. So now, as we say, what is the CI in pharma? So it is a legal and ethical collection. So it is not that we are trying to sabotage any information, and we are doing some unethical process to basically to have that information about our customers. every information is present in the secondary domain. Um, we just need to explore the Google. We just need to explore this cloud, and based on that, not only in terms of the secondary domain also, and the what I can say, uh, the variable sources domain, which has been available to the customers and to all of us. We are also having some, subject matter experts and some key industry peers who actually have joined some initial company, but now they are working for some another company. So the ex-employees, so they are having a good information about their companies also, what exactly they were doing at the past. So trying to understand their opinion and try to understand their try to understand the product positioning of their company as when they were basically working at that point of time, basically helps, and try to make us the analysis like how we are actually going through when we are, when we want to compare our products with our customers products. Can we go to the slide 10? Great. So basically this is a CI process, and how actually a CI process goes. Now, for example, now you are most of you are into your final year of your pharma MBA, and most of you, after the completion of your pharma MBA, you will be going to basically search a job. So now if any one of you will be going into the consulting background, so what exactly we guys do? So we actually work for the pharma companies, and we are actually acting as a vendor, because over the last 10-15 years, pharma companies, luckily I can say, they have actually identified this, and they have realized this fact that the Indian market is basically, they are actually flooded with and they are booming with loads and loads of the pharma graduates, life sciences graduates, who are having good information and who are having a good knowledge about the medicines and their pharmacological actions. And the person who, and those persons who are actually they have the amalgamation of the MBA and the pharma, so they will be actually supporting us in basically try to link the commercial background and the scientific background of the pharma domain to help creating the revenue for us. So basically we are the customers for them. Now what these guys they will do, for example, if you're working with some of the Pfizer guy, okay, uh, now what he will be doing, he will be initially he'll be setting with his global brand management team. They will be trying to understand कि हाँ, हमारा जो product है, the product what we are actually trying to develop, उसके रिगार्डिंग हमारे पास अभी कितनी इंफॉर्मेशन अवेलेबल है, उसके रिगार्डिंग कितने कॉम्पिटिटर्स अभी मार्केट में करंटली काम कर रहे हैं, और कितने प्लेयर्स ऑलरेडी हमारे प्रोडक्ट के रिस्पेक्ट में ऑलरेडी लॉन्च हुए हुए हैं. ओके, एंड देन दे विल बी ट्राई टू सीक एन इंफॉर्मेशन कि बेसिकली अभी हमारे पास कौन सी इंफॉर्मेशन ऐसी इंपॉर्टेंट है या जो वाइटल है, जो बेसिकली हमारे लिए ट्रैक करना बड़ा जरूरी है ऑन द कंटिन्यूअस एंड ऑनगोइंग बेसिस. So basically हमारा इसमें रोल आएगा, that Pfizer guy will be connecting to our team. They will be sharing some key intelligence questions and the key intelligence topics. Those topics will be relating related to clinical background. They can be related to sales force effectiveness. They can be related to the payers and reimbursement planning strategies, about the competitors, or any new technology which has been developed across their indications, what exactly they are trying to focus. So based on that, जब हमारे पास key intelligence questions और topics आ जाएंगे, so then we will be having a basic idea कि okay, pharma companies जिसके लिए हम काम कर रहे हैं, where exactly they are lagging about, कहाँ पर वो lag areas हैं उनके, and where they are trying to improvise or where they are trying to improve their process. So based on that, we'll be trying to create a scope out of it. And uske baad we'll be looking at some of the sources. Now sources हमारे कौन से होते हैं? Primary, secondary, and I think primary and secondary this is quite enough. But उसके 3 सब attributes होते हैं. एक source होता है जो publicly available होता है, that is called as secondary, जिसके अंदर we try to use जो data tools available होते हैं हमें. डेटा टूल्स कुछ ऐसे होते हैं जो कमर्शियली अभी आजकल मार्केट में अवेलेबल है, जो बेसिकली रॉ इंफॉर्मेशन को कलेक्ट करके एक स्टैंडर्डाइज फॉर्म में प्रोवाइड करते हैं हमारे जैसे वेंडर्स को, सो दैट हमारे लिए सर्च कैरी आउट करना आसान हो जाए, एंड देन वी कैन स्ट्रेट अवे मूव टू द डेटा रैंगलिंग पार्ट और टू द एनालिसिस पार्ट. डेटाबेस के अलावा वी विल बी आल्सो लुकिंग एट द कंपनी इन्वेस्टर रिलीज, publications, and apart from that there is a source called as the spontaneous or the human source, because कुछ चीजें हमें basically publicly नहीं मिलती हैं. Like for example, if you take an example of patents, तो अगर हमें किसी ड्रग की पेटेंट या लॉस ऑफ एक्सक्लूसिविटी एक्सक्लूसिविटी की कोई इंफॉर्मेशन अगर लेनी है, तो वो सेकेंडरी डोमेन में अगर आप यूरोप पेटेंट देखते हो तो वो 1 ईयर के बाद पब्लिश होती है. यूएस पेटेंट देखते हो तो वो आपके बेसिकली 18 मंथ्स के बाद होती है. सो इन दिस केस वी ट्राई टू कनेक्ट विद सम ऑफ द ह्यूमन सोर्सेज. अब वो ह्यूमन सोर्सेज कौन से होते हैं? आइदर क्यूओएल्स, सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट्स, कंपनी में जो लोग एक्चुअली इस एरिया में काम कर रहे हैं. अब अगर आप पेटेंट्स की बात करोगे तो पेटेंट्स के लिए कौन काम करेगा? जो आईपीआर टीम के मेंबर्स होते हैं, जो इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स में जो टीम मेंबर्स काम कर रहे होते हैं उस कंपनी के, रेगुलेटरी टीम के मेंबर्स, और जो बेसिकली पेटेंट फाइलिंग टीम के लोग होते हैं. सो दे विल ट्राई टू कनेक्ट विद देम ऑल द पर्संस हु आर एक्चुअली द एक्स एम्प्लॉयज ऑफ दोस कंपनीज. तो आप पहले सेकेंडरी डोमेन से सर्च करते हो कि वो लोग कौन से थे, एंड देन यू ट्राई टू कनेक्ट विद देम. आइदर अगर आप जैसे कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में जाते हो तब आप उनसे बात करते हो, या टेलीफोनिक कॉल या कोल्ड कॉलिंग से. तो बेसिकली दीज आर सम ऑफ द प्रोसेस. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट देयर इज एन अनदर ऑप्शन कॉल्ड एज द फोटोग्राफिक प्रोसेस. कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में व्हेन यू गो and when there are researchers and the academic speakers, so you tend to capture some of the key important slide summary decks which actually help you to analyze and to foresee and to anticipate what can be the forthcoming milestones about your indication, about your product. So these are the overall steps what you try to build in, and out of that you try to create your opinions. Okay, now for example you are asking कि अगर हमारा कोई कॉम्पिटिटर है, हमारा कंपनी का ड्रग जो है वो फेज 2 में है और हमारे कस्टमर्स के प्रोडक्ट फेज 3 में, और वो उसमें क्या कर रहे हैं, उसका करंट स्टेटस क्या है. हमने सारी इंफॉर्मेशन कोलेक्ट करी है, एंड देन वी ट्राई टू एनालाइज कि फेज 3 प्रोडक्ट है, उसके रिजल्ट्स जो हैं वो बेसिकली 3 मंथ्स के बाद आएंगे. नाउ वी विल बी इन्फॉर्मिंग आवर कस्टमर्स कि आप लोगों का जो की कॉम्पिटिटर है उसका फेज 3 रिजल्ट अभी 3 मंथ्स के बाद आएगा. सो उस टाइम पे हमारे जो कस्टमर्स होंगे दे विल बी मेकिंग इट एज अ मीडियम थ्रेट. व्हाई अ मीडियम थ्रेट? बिकॉज ऑल्दो द प्रोडक्ट इज इन फेज 3, फेज 3 तक प्रोडक्ट पहुंच गया तो इंपॉर्टेंट है, बट जब तक उसका रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा तब तक इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हमारे ड्रग की पोजीशनिंग क्या होगी going forward. तो बेसिकली जब 3 मंथ्स हो जाएंगे देन वी विल ट्राई टू सीक द इंफॉर्मेशन अगेन. और हो सकता है कि 3 मंथ्स हमें पता लगा है, कहीं से हो सकता है कंपनी 1 महीना पहले या 2 महीने पहले बोल दे. तो हम क्या करते हैं, कंपनी के अलर्ट्स लगाते हैं. वी ट्राई टू कैप्चर एंड वी ट्राई टू मॉनिटर एंड वी ट्राई टू ट्रैक दैट इंफॉर्मेशन each and every day, each and every hour, to see that we are not missing anything. So we have to be very proactive. So we have to be quite creative when we are doing a CI. And जैसे हमारे पास कोई अलर्ट आता है इस इंफॉर्मेशन के रिगार्डिंग कि यस हम अब आपके जो कंपटीशन में कंपनी है उसने बोला है कि हम रिजल्ट्स 3 मंथ्स बाद देंगे, बट बेसिकली अभी हमारे जो इंटरम रिजल्ट्स वो ये कह रहे हैं कि हमारे प्रोडक्ट की सेफ्टी अच्छी है, बट एफिकेसी जो है वो ज्यादा देर तक सस्टेन नहीं हो रही, डिटेल्ड रिजल्ट्स हम 3 मंथ्स के बाद देंगे। तो इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन भी हमारे कस्टमर के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हमारा जो कॉम्पिटिटर जो खेल रहा है वो बेसिकली हेजिटेंट है या वो रिलक्टेंट है अपने प्रोडक्ट की डिटेल्ड इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करने में, तभी वो डिले कर रहा है। और कैसे आप इवेलुएट करोगे, आप ये देखोगे कंपनी के जो शेयर्स होते हैं डेली वो कैसे फ्लक्चुएट करते हैं, क्योंकि इंटरनल जो कंपनी में जो लोग इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, so basically they have an idea exactly what is going internally within the company. So based on that, the value per share keeps on your fluctuation level is quite high, and then you try to keep a track on each, and you try to monitor each and every single thing. So that is a CI, and this will help your customers to develop a key what I can say, a decision, so that it will be creating an the upper edge or the advantage versus your जो competition में है. So this is exactly how the CI process actually goes on. So can we go on to the next slide? Yep. Please move forward. Okay. So basically strategies के लिए, again this is one of my favorite slides, Sun Tzu's Art of War. So any one of you can remember, or any one of you can actually recollect what exactly were the key wordings we had actually discussed or brainstormed at our session 1 with regards to this Sun Tzu Art of War. What exactly the quotes he actually mentioned? Anyone from the audience? Okay, silence means no.
Something like
Okay.
strategy and tactics. Also, not being ignorant on yourself or enemies. Relating to this.
Okay, great, very nice, Rajat. So he Sun Tzu mentioned that if you are not aware about your enemy, and if you are not aware about yourself, then things won't work. You will easily be getting defeated. So it is important for us to know our enemy at the complete level and at the deepest level, but also you should know more about yourself also, and you should know more about your strengths and weaknesses. So that's one of the game what actually helps to drive the strategic decisions in the healthcare industry. Now there are some of the pointers, what are some of the strategic rules what actually he mentioned, like detailed planning and assessment. So it is similar like how you are actually preparing yourself in your personal life. For example, nowadays what happens when we get married, so we actually plan our things. Okay, like we need to start with our family after a year or after a couple of years. Irrespective a boy or a girl, no one is, koi bhi hota hai agar, we need to start up with his or her education at this particular school, and then after school we want, or this is our choice, ye hamari ichha hai, we can't actually force, or we can't actually compel them to go with this, but yes, we actually want them to go into this particular area or this particular domain, then we want to shape up their career in this particular manner. So this is similar to a drug life cycle. So like target identification, lead identification, clinical phase, regulatory, and then launch of a drug. And then once the drug is launched, so it means that the product, or you can say your child is mature enough to face that world now. उसके बाद जो भी चीजें चलती है वो रियल वर्ल्ड एविडेंस पे चलती है, कि बेसिकली जो कस्टमर्स हैं यानी हम पेशेंट्स, वो बेसिकली फीडबैक देते हैं. वो कहते हैं ना, फिर बाहर के लोग फीडबैक्स देते हैं, your colleagues, your office colleagues, your peers, your bosses, your society. they actually give your feedback to you कि yes, इस बंदे ने पूरी जर्नी में अपना ऐसे ऐसे पूरा काम किया है. So how exactly the strategy goes? So it goes like, you know, detailed planning and assessment, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and then try to understand the threats and opportunities of your enemy. So हमारे enemy कौन है? हमारे enemies हैं हमारे struggles, हमारे enemies हैं हमारे goals जिनको हमें defeat करना होता है. और ऐसे defeat करना है कि they are not aware of that. We are consciously tracking them. So there is a famous quote from the Cliff from one of the book which is called as the Cliff and Pointer story. It is by Robert Klein. So he mentioned that you are only able to, you know, thrive into your work in which you are having an interest. So basically you have to choose that career only जिसमें आपको interest है, because then only you will be able to make a good planning out of it. Okay, so it is very important to have the maneuvering. It is very important to have the tactical variation, and basically to understand the espionage. Like exactly, अब espionage में क्या आता है? हमारा family support, हमारा family background, कितना monetary support मिल रहा है, कितना monetary gain मिल रहा है, हमारी life में personal ऐसी और extrinsic factors कौन से हैं? Extrinsic factors are called as the macroeconomics, which I'll be, you know, explaining in the further slide. Macroeconomics में political, regional, environmental, ये factors आते हैं जो एक industry को affect करता है. इंडस्ट्री पे अफेक्ट होगा तो कॉम्पिटिटर पे अफेक्ट आएगा, कॉम्पिटिटर पे अफेक्ट होगा तो हमारे पे अफेक्ट आएगा. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द ब्लॉकचेन ऑफ द स्ट्रेटजी मेकिंग. सो लाइक द फर्स्ट वन इज वी. Then if you will go by the bullets, जो बुल्स आए होता है, so सबसे छोटा बुल जो होता है वो हम होते हैं. Above that are competitors, then above that there are industry peers, and above that there are macroeconomics. What are exactly the extrinsic factors which are actually trying to influence the industry, you know, dynamics. So how strategies are basically be useful to us in the pharma industry. So can we go on with the next slide? Great. So in this CI, competitive intelligence in healthcare, like बहुत सारी चीजें I have explained you previously also, like the competitive intelligence, this is an ongoing process, and it has been used at each level of the company. So like I mentioned, key event monitoring. Now why I have mentioned it is high to medium priority, because disseminating the information is very critical. Like I mentioned, you can be the person who is having a good and a brilliant expertise in your subject. You are a brilliant subject matter expertise with a solid disease background, with a solid market value, and you are trying to understand the USP of the product, and with respect to your जो competitors हैं आपके. But the challenge what you are facing is you don't know to whom you have to share the information and at what time you have to share that information. So here the key event monitoring actually plays a critical role. Then we come to the early R&D team or clinical team. So CI strategic making में कैसे help करता है? Try to make us understand about the new technologies in the market, which will be helping us to greatly benefit the company by improving the discovery platforms or by reducing the manufacturing cost. इसका सीधा example ये है, the straight and foremost example is, so there are two companies A and B. Okay, product A, it is an anti-diabetic drug, so they are selling one जो standard unit at ₹25. Now I am assuming वो 25 rupees it is the cost of a patient. तो manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer उनका 10% काट के हमारे पास ये patient cost 25 आई है. कंपनी बी जो है वो अपना प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर रहा है और वो अपना प्रोडक्ट जो है वो भी 25 पे ही सेल कर रहा है. बट हम एनालाइज करते हैं आफ्टर एन ईयर कि कंपनी ए का प्रोडक्ट ज्यादा बिक रहा है, कंपनी बी का नहीं बिक रहा, व्हाई? कैन एनीवन फ्रॉम द ऑडियंस कैन वांट टू थ्रो सम लाइट और वांट टू शेयर एनी ओपिनियन ऑन दिस? सब कुछ सेम है, वी आर हैविंग अ सिमिलर मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एक्शन, our patient segment is similar, but what
So
exactly
different.
can be the reason?
So difference come in their strategies which they are applying to approach their customers.
Okay, if you can throw some more light on it, Deepak.
Sir, it can also be like giving an incentives or any other perks to the employees as well as customer. Like if they are more approaching towards the patient, they having a patient centric activity, but the rate are same, so they might be increase their sale.
Okay, so basically all these factors are giving perks to the employees and the patients. So this only happens in India. So we are actually talking about US and Europe. So US and Europe dynamics is entirely different, as I mentioned, because their regulatory challenges are very different as compared to India. Their marketing strategies are entirely different because their drug has been dwelt on the millions. Okay, उस पे billions and millions का पैसा लगा है. And so there are some stringent laws with the FDAs and with the EMAs, so they can't go with that, giving perks to the patients and giving the perks to the prescribers, although internally chalta hai, because we had a movie called as a drugs, which has been based on the Pfizer company, a drug rap who is trying to actually trying to fulfill all the needs of the doctor in the US, but technically it is not possible. So here we actually trying to understand some compliance factors. हमने realize करा कि company A what they are doing it, वो retailers के through जा ही नहीं रहे. What they are doing it कि उनके खुद के अपने centers बने हुए हैं जो patients को directly drug deliver कर देते हैं. उनके drug का जो compliance rate है that is very good. That is actually once a week or once a month. But drug B जो है we used to have every other day. एक कंप्लायंस का इशू ये. सेकंड, कंपनी ए का जो ड्रग डिलीवर होता है, इट इज बीन एक्चुअली ड्राइव थ्रू सम डिलीवरी टेक्नोलॉजी व्हिच इज अ पेनलेस नीडल. सो कस्टमर्स आर मोर कंफर्टेबल इन बेसिकली यूजिंग दैट. तो कंपनी बी ने अब क्या क्या किया, और सेकेंडली डॉक्टर्स के साथ कंटिन्यूसली बात करके ये पता लगा कि अगर हम उस ड्रग को छोड़ते भी हैं तो उसका सस्टेनेबल इफेक्ट ज्यादा रहेगा. अब ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन लेने के लिए कंपनी बी ने हमें कनेक्ट करा, लाइक ऑल ऑफ अस इन इंडिया, एंड वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड बाय कलेक्टिंग इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सोर्सेज. तो इसमें हमारे टारगेट क्या होगा, हमारा डॉक्टर्स का डेटा, कंपनीज का डेटा, फार्मेसी का डेटा, होलसेलर्स का डेटा, पेशेंट्स के साथ सर्वे एनालिसिस करके, एंड देन वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द रीजन. उसके बाद हमने वी ट्राई टू थ्रो आवर ओपिनियन. हमारा ओपिनियन ये था, एंड वी आल्सो ट्राई टू एनालाइज द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड द शिपिंग कॉस्ट. हमने रियलाइज करा कि कंपनी ए का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड शिपिंग एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का चैलेंज बहुत है, बिकॉज प्रोडक्ट वो अपना यूएस में बनाते हैं नॉर्दर्न में, एंड देन इट इज बीन सप्लाइड टू यूरोप एंड द अदर पार्ट्स, which is a very stringent and which is not a good tangible process. But हमारी कंपनी के मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेंटर्स are located each and every globe. So what we did, we try to actually build up the stock जो units होते हैं in every local manufacturing locations of the country. जिसकी वजह से क्या हुआ, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड शिपिंग कॉस्ट कम हुआ, प्रोडक्ट का रेट कम हो गया हमारे. सेकेंडली जो टेक्निक, जो डिलीवरी डिवाइस उन लोगों ने बनाया था, उसका पेटेंट खत्म हो गया है. ठीक है, सो नाउ वी आर एबल टू कॉपी दैट पर्टिकुलर मेथड. कंपनी ने वही स्ट्रेटेजी अप्लाई करी, कंप्लायंस रेट अच्छा हुआ, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन अच्छा हुआ, ड्रग का रेट 15 आया, एंड विद इन द ईयर वॉल्यूम, कंपनी बी का जो ड्रग था, वॉल्यूम नंबर ऑफ जो यूनिट सोल्ड हुए थे एज पर द वॉल्यूम, दैट वाज अबाउट 10 टाइम्स, एंड द रेवेन्यू was been increased to 15 to 20% year on year compared to the drug A. So this is how you trying to create a strategy out of it. Now you see what is a counter CI. Counter CI hota hai, it's like I just want to give a very good example. Anyone from the audience, if you can, have an interaction with me, like what exactly you are doing in your, what exactly is your syllabus? If someone can explain me in a couple of minutes, any one of you, what exactly are your key study areas during your fourth semester? Anyone from the audience?
So I'm first semester student. Can I explain my syllabus?
Yeah, obviously. Please.
So we have subjects like financial accounting, healthcare services and development, principles of marketing, and then quality management, which is useful in market research, market analytics, then the
Okay.
economics. Uh, so these are our subjects. Then we have regulatory affairs.
Okay. So now if I want to understand what exactly are the key subtopics in your marketing analytics subject, so what it will be?
So there are a decision theory, and then we mean, mode, median, derivations. These are the
Okay. Okay. So are you guys aware about market size, market potential? What is market share?
not yet, sir. I think it will be in future.
Okay. So Abhi, right now, the interaction what I had with Shubham. So this is called as a primary CI because this information was technically was been available in in Google and the institutional web page. But having more information about the syllabus and the subject is something which I can only have from the students. So in terms of the pharma companies, we are having a person, like I mentioned, KOL, subject matter experts, and the companies, key persons in those departments. We try to connect them and we try to have the 5 why. Like recently what I had with Shubham, कि basically क्या subjects हैं, उन subjects का topic क्या है, और आपने क्या इनके बारे में पढ़ा है. तो basically there is another division to it, कि अगर शुभम मुझे कहता कि यस सर मार्केट शेयर मार्केट साइज हमने पढ़ा हुआ है, और मेरे को अगर ये कह देता कि मार्केट साइज की डेफिनेशन उल्टी बताता और मार्केट शेयर का कुछ और बताता, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज अ काउंटर सीआई, कि बेसिकली आप किसी कस्टमर के पास, आप किसी रिस्पोंडेंट का इंफॉर्मेशन लेने गए हो, बट owing to the company's privacy policy, because there are certain sensitive or some critical information which actually we can't share it with the external vendors. So in order to protect them, we either try to counter them, or we try to nullify their effects, or we will be giving some what I can say, the reversible answers which are not helping with your cause, or which can have the detrimental impact on your strategy making. So this is called as a counter CI. Can we move to
So
the
sir, can
yeah?
we, so sir, can we say, can we call it manipulation then? Like they can also dodge whatever the vendors are asking for whatever.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So in this case, our role is to basically ask them the questions, and before connecting with them, we need to develop a strong domain expertise. So we need to create a strong background about our questions, about what we are asking. Now, for example, if you are trying to understand कि basically diabetes का product phase 3 में आपका है या नहीं है, so you will be not going randomly or directly with that particular customer. You need to develop a background about their product. You need to develop a background about this particular disease area, and then कुछ कुछ अपने inputs देके you need to develop a जो effective brainstorming session, so that the respondents try to instigate, and so that the respondent will himself will try to instigate the responses what you are actually eyeing for, and they are not becoming too fishy or picky about your intentions about it. So it's not that you are doing any spying thing, it is not the spying thing, but it is like you are trying to connect the missing dots from the secondary sources. So this is one of the areas where the counter CI plays a critical role. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Now, what is the benefits of this competitive intelligence in planning? So it is basically we need to improve our tactical and strategic decision making. Also, it helps us to create effective resource management. How? Now, for example, कंपनी एक अपना मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट बना रही है जिसमें नंबर ऑफ रिसोर्सेज बहुत ज्यादा है एंड इफ दे आर लुकिंग एट द कॉम्पिटिटर्स जिनका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स में लोग कम है बट उनका खर्चा बहुत कम आ रहा है. So having that information, our customers will try to improvise or will try to inculcate their strategic decisions into their business model. So either they will be trying to reduce or decrease the resource management, or they will be trying to leverage their existing resources into some other areas. The most good example is about the Amgen. What they did last year due to the COVID, they actually eliminated the 500 Salesforce jobs as reps. But on the other hand, they actually realized that drug discovery, drug development, they are actually people, all the pharma customers, they are working on the AI aspects. The drug discovery platforms are on an increasing trend, so they shifted their resources to that particular department. So this is called as the resource management. And there is obviously future modeling by analyzing the past historical data and the current data. इसके अंदर आपका कौन सा डेटा आता है? क्लिनिकल डेटा, कंप्लायंस डेटा, रेगुलेटर डेटा, pre-marketing strategies, pre-launch strategies about your product. What exactly are the key milestones about your competitor product? Like basically investor release or quarterly reports में they tend to mention कि हम अपना product का clinical trial few months में करेंगे, इस patient में करेंगे, regulatory approval हम इस time पे देंगे. So tracking those information really help us to develop our product and to build the good strategic decisions for entering into the market with our competitors. Can we go on to the next slide? Right quote by the Stephen Michelson. It's like strategy is the war on paper. It is like we need to seek the victory before the battle. And when we are trying, every company, they have to publish their data into secondary domain to understand. This is important for the regulatory departments, for WHO and for the other government payers, to understand what exactly the drug is, how exactly the company and the drug and their positioning is behaving in the market. So basically, sharing the right information on the platform is critical for the company to maintain their strategic decisions. Next slide. So this I've already explained in my previous slide decks. Is like how we tend to conceptualize the launching strategy. So there are 2 points what we need to focus: the strategic decisions and the tactical decisions. The strategic decision depends on 4 parts: company strategy, product strategy, market strategy, and the competitive strategy. Company's strategy क्या होती है? To identify its own strengths and weaknesses. Product strategy is to analyze their product's positioning and to identify the right target about their product, to identify the right customer. So this is called as the strategic, what I can say, strategic thinking. So so segmentation, targeting, and positioning are quite important for product strategy. Then comes to the marketing strategy. This is called as the implementation of how you are trying to implicate your strategy in the market. So this is done by the 4P. So anyone is aware what is 4P?
Sir, it's a product, place, position,
And price.
And price.
Okay, so if you want to relate this marketing mix in terms of the pharma business, so how you will be able to analyze it? I have already just explained it. It's like it is quite important to bring your product at a right time, at a right place, and at a right position. And what type of promotion you are doing it? Are you targeting right doctors? Are you targeting right patients? Are you have setting a right prices? So this will only happen if your customer, if your customer segmentation, targeting, and positioning has been done right. And then there is the competitive the strategy to analyze each and every aspect about your customers and your competitors. Then there is the tactical decisions, which is based on the macro economics factors, which is beyond your control actually. So overall country का basically price tag क्या चल रहा है, economy कैसे चल रही है, बाकी industry में promotion distributions क्या चल रहे हैं. So that basically depends. So overall strategy, if I want to conclude, so strategy का value chain क्या होगा? CI value chain depends on 4 factors, guys. Please remember, first is competitive analysis, then there is competitive insights, which creates competitive advantage, and then it creates the competitive strategy decisions, right? And then there is a funda, which is known as EAC. This is one of my favorite terms, which I've created by my own. It is like engagement, awareness, and knowledge. If you are having a good engagement skills, if you are able to engage with plethora of key opinion leaders, subject matter expert, then you will be having a loads of information and the correct information on the timely basis. Awareness of the product. Awareness you will be getting through secondary domains. People जो हमारे घर पे family members and our parents, they always used to buy us like newspaper पढ़ो. Why? It is meant to create the awareness about the macro economic factor about the market, to understand what exactly is going across the world, to understand the company needs, to understand the customer needs, what exactly the market is going. And then there is a knowledge. Knowledge is something which is not yet created, which has already been created. So you are dependent on the previous knowledge to develop your expertise for the future. So by this, you can understand why we need to launch a product, where we need to launch a product, and when we need to launch a product. So 3 W's are there. Can we move on to the next slide, please? This is again how the CI is helping us to solve these basic questions. Now I say my drug is best, but the other companies say, but my launch is different, guys. So CI help us to understand कि how actually our launch. So अगर कोई competitor कहता है कि आपका प्रोडक्ट अच्छा नहीं, हमारा different product है, तो हम not this year but next year से हमारा peak uptake कब आएगा. तो basically ड्रग की जर्नी सिमिलर होती है जैसे एक ह्यूमन की लाइफ होती है. पहले डेवलपमेंट, फिर ग्रोथ, फिर पीक और फिर सस्टेन. तो बेसिकली ग्रोथ और जब पीक कब आता है ड्रग का, सो दैट इज दैट द पर्सन इज एट द मिडल एज, जिसमें वो अपनी हेल्थ और अपने करियर में पूरा पीक पे होता है. एंड व्हेन जब उसका लॉस ऑफ एक्सक्लूसिविटी खत्म हो जाती है, मतलब जब उसका जो राइट होता है रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी से वो खत्म हो जाता है और दूसरी कंपनीज उसका जेनरिक वर्जन बना सकती है, तो बेसिकली खेल सिर्फ सर्वाइवल और सस्टेन का हो जाता है उसके अंदर. सो दैट इज आफ्टर 60 और 55. सो बेसिकली वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि अगर कोई दूसरी कंपनी, अगर हम अपने पीक पे या ग्रोथ कर्व पे हैं और दूसरी कंपनी कह रही है कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट अच्छा है, सो देन वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हमारी प्रीवियस लॉन्चेस प्रोडक्ट्स में कैसे रही थी, अब मार्केट की एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या है. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी पर्टिकुलर अबाउट द मार्केट एक्सपेक्ट्स, जिसके लिए वी ट्राई टू डू दी we try to use some basic tools which I'll be explaining in the next section. Then we try to understand the potential differentiation of the drugs. Shushmita, can we go back to the previous slide, please, just for a second? We need to understand what type of interaction we are doing it. It's not that कि basically हम किस doctors को target कर रहे हैं. It is also important for the marketing guys to understand कि हम डॉक्टर्स के साथ क्या इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं. इट इज नॉट दैट यू ओनली हैव टू फोकस अबाउट योर प्रोडक्ट. हमारा प्रोडक्ट ये है, हमारा प्रोडक्ट ये है, दूसरी कंपनी का प्रोडक्ट तो ऐसा है वैसा है. नो, यू हैव टू हैव द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द ओवरऑल थेरेपी एरिया, so that doctors को भी एक impression लगे कि yes, they are aware about their product also and they are trying to anticipate the future predictive analysis also. So doctors and PhD guys, they want to listen to all these things, which makes the interactive जो sessions को काफी which makes them quite fruitful. And then you try to understand कि हमें challenges क्या आने वाले हैं, हमारे कंपनी का background क्या है. So like I mentioned वो संजीव उसमें एस्पियोनेज, कि जब हम अपना फैमिली बैकग्राउंड भी देखते हैं या कुछ चीजें कि हमारे कंपनी का रेवेन्यू कितना जा रहा है, हमारी लीडरशिप टीम, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग टीम कितना पैसा लगा रही है, उस फैक्टर्स पे we try to understand our challenges, and फिर we try to bring the way outs how we can eliminate them. So this is how the CI is actually trying to create, or CI is actually helping us to create a strategic decisions. All I want to say is like competitive analysis, then competitive insights, then competitive advantage, and then competitive strategic decision. This is the value chain of CI. So just understand that and just try to remember that. Next topic, please. Okay, guys. So basically, we have actually talked a lot regarding strategy making. What is the CI? हम kids and kicks customer से लेते हैं. We try to fetch all the information and the data from the Google Cloud, from the company resources. We actually, try to bring that data in a very streamlined manner, and then we try to create an insights. We try to disseminate that information to the right persons, and those persons, they will be then creating a decisions. But उसके लिए tools क्या है? So let's study that. Next slide. So there are basically 4 tools. Like I mentioned, you have to remember the radar. सबसे पहले V, like हम जो है, उसके ऊपर हमारा competitor, फिर industry, and then the macroeconomic factors. So I'll just explain you in a very short manner कि basically हमारे लिए important क्या है, us के लिए SWOT, जिसके अंदर we try to understand the strength and weaknesses about our product, about our company. Then comes to the competitor. Competitors के लिए we try to understand the Porter's 4 corners framework, which I'll be explaining in the further slide. Industry dynamics के लिए there is a SWOT analysis also, looking at the opportunities, threats, and then the Porter's 5 fours analysis. And then macroeconomics को study करने के लिए we have the PESTLE framework, which is understanding the political, economic, social, environmental, legal factors and trends across your country, across your globe. Okay. So I'll be not explaining this SWOT analysis because I assume that you guys should be aware of it. PESTLE is something which is customized. It depends upon the country to country. It depends upon the region to region. So there is no exactly framework for it. Okay. So I'll be majorly focusing on competitive strategy and industrial dynamics. That is a Porter's 5 force framework, which is key, which are one of the key tools in understanding how to conduct a CI. Shushmita, next slide, please. Great. Now, basically, what is this 4 corners? So 4 corners हमारे, so we have divided this into 2 factors. Okay. So सबसे पहले Porter's 4 corners of SWOT analysis, what is the difference? SWOT analysis will be only helping you when your competitor is already having a product in the market, and it only helps you to create a short-term, strategies. But Porter's 4 corners framework, it helps you to create a long-term strategies. Okay. And it helps you to understand that how your products and services will be behaving in the market in coming future. So it is dependent on 2 factors, basically drivers. It is divided into 2 factors, motivation and action. So motivation and factor actions may say, motivation में there are 2 factors, drivers and management assumptions. Okay. So basically what are drivers? So drivers are basically which actually motivates your companies to basically push you ahead with your targets. Like for example, if your product is an early phase, आपने एक product को develop करा, now you are into phase 1. The idea of developing that product is like कि अभी competition के अंदर ऐसा product अभी market में आया नहीं है, because हमारा product जो है उसका target बिल्कुल अलग है. तो we are assuming कि जब ये market में आएगा तो ये धूम मचा देगा. मतलब एक गोली खाने की वजह से 1 साल तक हमें आराम मिलेगा. अभी कोई ऐसा प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में नहीं है, क्योंकि अभी हमें रेगुलरली मेडिसिन खानी पड़ती है इस पर्टिकुलर डिजीज में. तो ड्राइवर इसमें क्या होगा कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर फेज 1 आपने करा है, फेज 1 का सेफ्टी रिजल्ट अच्छा है, कंपनी विल से यस, बैंग ऑन, नाउ वी कैन गो टू द फेज 2. So this is called as a driver. तो इसके अंदर आपका financial goals, external constraints, ये सब चीजें भी आएंगी. External constraints ऐसे कि बेसिकली हमारे पास फंड्स हैं, वी आर अ बिग साइज कंपनी, पार्टनर्स हैं, क्लिनिकल ट्रायल साइट्स हैं, एवरीथिंग वी आर हैविंग इट. सो लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द फेज 2. देन देयर इज अ मैनेजमेंट अजम्पशंस. मैनेजमेंट अजम्पशंस कैसे होगा इसके अंदर? फॉर एग्जांपल, आपने जब इन विट्रो इन विवो स्टडीज करा था, उसमें यू नो ऑब्जर्व दिस फैक्ट, या यू हैव रियलाइज दिस फैक्ट कि ये आपका प्रोडक्ट माउस के अंदर कम से कम डोजेस पे रिजल्ट्स को सस्टेन करता है विदाउट हैविंग अ ग्रेड 3 एडवर्स इवेंट्स. So these are our assumptions. So these assumptions will be actually helping to drive the factors. So based on that, you will be actually trying to go through with your strategies. So this is called as a motivation. And then there is a possible action of your competitors, जिसमें current strategy और जो capabilities का roles आता है इसके अंदर. So basically current strategy में अब आपका प्रोडक्ट करंटली अभी क्या क्या कर रहा है अपने प्रोडक्ट को लेके, आर दे आर ट्राइंग टू चेंज देयर स्ट्रेटजी विद देयर प्रोडक्ट, आर दे आर ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लोर एनी लाइफ साइकिल मैनेजमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज, लाइक जो हम काम कर रहे हैं क्या हमारा कॉम्पिटिटर भी सिमिलर कुछ ऐसा तो नहीं कर रहा, या इस इंडिकेशन में कुछ और तो नहीं डेवलप कर रहा. सो दैट इज ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड दी पॉसिबल एक्शंस ऑफ योर कस्टमर्स. Third होता है हमारा when your product is about to enter into the launch phase, then you try to analyze the company's trend with the help of the forecasting tools. कि basically हमारा product का uptake जब आएगा तो उसमें कौन से ऐसे factors या ऐसे कौन से basically attributes होंगे जो हमारे product के लिए constants produce करेंगे apart from the competitors products, और कौन से factors हैं. So that is identifying the company's trend. Great. Can we move to the next slide, please? So guys, this is one of a static framework. This is just for your references. It's like अगर एक fast food restaurant है तो उसके लिए motivation, drivers और strategies, capabilities क्या होंगी? So that is for your worth to read. Can we move on to the 23rd slide? Now this is the Porter's 5-4 framework. Now this is mainly to understand the overall pharma industry, or to understand the overall therapy area. Porter's जो 4 corners framework था, that is mainly for one specific indication. Like for example, oncology में if you're targeting solid tumors or any indication, the Porter's 4 framework will be very useful. But basically Porter's 5 forces framework के लिए, it is very essential to understand the bargaining capacities of that framework. So basically इसके अंदर हमारा ये होता है कि बेसिकली अगर हमारी इंटेंसिटी इज मूविंग फ्रॉम द लो टू हाई, तो बेसिकली द मोर इज द इंटेंसिव फोर्स, द मोर इज द चांसेस दैट द इंडस्ट्री इज नॉट सो अट्रैक्टिव एंड द इंडस्ट्री इज हैविंग अ लो प्रॉफिट्स, बिकॉज एज यू कैन सी अगर threats of new entrants is high, threats of substitute products are quite high, and if you can see the bargaining powers of the suppliers are quite high, bargaining buyers and the rivalries are actually basically quite high. So how it can basically behave? So that is the Porter's 5-4 framework. Can we move on to the next slide? Yeah, so what exactly are the Porter's 5 framework work in the pharmaceutical understanding? So it's like how to look at your competition and market. So here we actually try to look at the overall market dynamics and the business environment external to your organization and competition. So I'll be explaining you in a very short and in a very nutshell manner what is the potential entrants. So that is, it is called as the threat of new entrants, like what new entrants are coming into the market. Then the bargaining power of buyers. It means that why do the buyers in your pharma industry have the bargaining power? What are the reasons for that? So you have to collect the data with respect to that attribute. Then what is the threat of the substitute products or the services? So what are the alternatives or the substitutes for your industry? Like for example, a biopharma products के biosimilars create हो रहे हैं. So that is one of the biggest threats. क्योंकि बायोफार्मा प्रोडक्ट्स को बनाने के लिए वी स्पेंड millions and billions of money, because you see, if you want to create monoclonal antibodies and if you want to create a gene therapy and you realize कि एक monoclonal antibody का एक biosimilar create हो गया, try to empathize with that original customer, try to empathize with that original pharma company जिसने 10 years back वो product बनाया था, and now their generic versions are into the market, because solid entity या एक drug को बनाने के लिए इतना पैसा नहीं लगता जितना एक bio बनाने को लगता है. So that is something, a threat which we need to tag it on. Then the bargaining powers of suppliers. Now, what is that? This is like, why do the suppliers in your industry have the bargaining power? Obviously, the company which is a big four pharma company, which is having a plethora of marketed products, revenue अच्छा चल रहा है. So those players, they have the bargaining power with the payers. Insurance companies जो होती हैं, public and private payers, so they can actually bargain. This is called as the brand equity. Okay, basically, what is the brand equity here? Brand equity means that doctors are actually trying to negotiate and they are very convinced with the new product, although it is very expensive in the market. So this based on the effective messaging and the promotion of the company, how they are actually pushing this product. They spend millions and millions of, in promoting, advertising. Or जो बाकी products है, although they are at a low price, although they are comparable in safety and efficacy, but still they lag behind. Then we need to understand the rivalry amongst the existing. Obviously, what are the issues which you are facing and what your competitors are facing? So that is quite critical to analyze. And based on these facts, we have so much of pointers to understand and how we are able to analyze all these things through new drug adoption process, to understanding the data about new drug adoption process, having the data or the information about the pharmaceutical product life cycle, about what are the digital marketing tools, how we do the branding, and what exactly is the marketing mix. So the marketing mix is the 4 Ps. So that's the game actually. Coming to the next slide, please. So this is actually for you guys, like how exactly the 5-4 shaping strategy has been impacting the COVID world actually. So as you can see, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is below. Is like the first one is the threat to new entrants. New entrants कब आएंगे? जब market में COVID progress होगा, second wave आएगी, resurgence या कोई और mutation होगा. Then bargaining power of buyers होगा. It will depend on the government response. What exactly are the economic measures or the healthcare measures of that company? Then there is a threat of new products. It will depend upon the environment of the COVID. Like currently available products कौन से हैं? Market में testing production का कितना खर्चा है? Vaccine availability कितनी है? Tender अब pass हो रहे हैं जल्दी या नहीं हो रहे? Then the bargaining power of suppliers, which is called as a business actions. Like company अगर product को develop कर रही है तो अपनी financial situation को कैसे manage कर रही है? Number of resources कितने हैं? अगर तो बड़ी कंपनी है तो वो रिसोर्सेज को हायर भी कर लेगी, रिसोर्सेज पे पैसा भी लगा लेगी, तो उनको इतना चैलेंज नहीं आएगा प्रोडक्शन, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में या रेगुलेटरी स्ट्रेटजीज में, और अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को वो हाई रेट पे बेच भी देंगे बायर्स के साथ नेगोशिएट करके. देन 5 इज द राइवलरी अमंग द एग्जिस्टिंग कॉम्पिटिटर्स. वो कैसा होगा? पब्लिक की सेंटिमेंट्स पे, कि जिस कस्टमर को, जिस पेशेंट को जो प्रोडक्ट अच्छा लग रहा है, सूट कर रहा है, और जिसको किसी भी कोविड म्यूटेशन से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो रही जिस वैक्सीन से, तो ऑब्वियसली पेशेंट्स वही लेंगे. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि अगर एक वैक्सीन डेल्टा वेरिएंट ठीक कर रही है और ओमिक्रॉन नहीं ठीक कर रही है, तो उस वैक्सीन को लेने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. रादर देन कस्टमर्स, पब्लिक वो वैक्सीन प्रेफर करेगी जो सारे म्यूटेशंस को ठीक कर दे. सो हाउ द राइवलरी एक्चुअली डेवलप्स इनटू दैट. कैन वी गो टू द लास्ट टॉपिक? What are the offerings supporting in CI Pharma? So before going on to the next slide, I would just like to have 2 minutes from you guys. So if someone can actually throw some light, like what type of data or what type of offerings we can actually look in for to support the CI process. So anyone from the audience? कि किस टाइप की ऑफरिंग्स या किस टाइप का डेटा हम अपने कस्टमर्स को वी कैन प्रोवाइड सो दैट वी कैन हैव द गुड इनसाइट्स अबाउट द मार्केट.
So So it can be about the marketing environment or economic environment that is prevailing in the country. And second, sir, demographic also that will be
Okay,
very useful. The
great,
population
good.
set, the skill set the population is having, or what kind of population that country is having. And so thirdly will be
Okay, so
the
that
ethical
actually
data
comes
also. It
under
has a
the demo.
yes. Okay, so okay,
Okay,
so
Sir,
so
also,
these are the main type of data that we can provide to any
yeah,
firm.
sir, also the
okay.
production and marketing strategies of other companies.
Okay. Anything else? Uh, Priyambada, any further details on it? What type of product and marketing strategy? Because this is a very broad term.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we need to actually segregate, or we need to funnel it down. So very nice word actually you have actually popped in. This will help me to explain all my slides into one single point. So Shushmita, so can we go back to
So,
so can we get back to the 28th slide? Yeah. Yes, Deepak.
so in terms of marketing, we can provide the information about the what potential market is, what available market is, and what the penetrated market for the product is, for competitor product is having. And so then we can focus on is that
Okay.
market is expensible or non-expensible. We can focus on that also, sir. And we can also, if we go deep, then we can compare the market penetration index and these things. These are very useful in determining how our product is going, how we are going to position our product, and how the demand that is demand market demand curve is.
Okay. So basically, as you can look into the slide, so I have actually tried to create this. It's like basically to understand what are the different type of sources we actually need to conduct the CI. So as you can see, there are different sources like, trade public journals, scientific and conference resources, industrial press release, and so these are type of sources. And how you are able to capture this data, it is through like scientific meetings, conference meetings, and basically, understanding the pricing and positioning strategies of competing vendors, benchmarking about the competitor products. Like for example, एक standard product है जिसका 1 billion revenue है, आपका product newly launch हुआ है, तो आप उसको benchmark कैसे कर रहे हो? Okay, so different phases पे we are having different types of data what we need to analyze. Like for example, if you can see below, early research and state development पे we need to focus on disease, technologies, new targets, ताकि जो pharma company की जो early stage team है, they are trying to understand what type of new targets are there market के अंदर which are haven't yet been get explored. Clinical team को किस type का data चाहिए? Monitoring of clinical trials. What exactly the potential claims, clinical issues उनके trial में क्या आ रहे हैं, clinical trial data कैसा आ रहा है, comparative analysis with the currently established product, that is the head-to-head trial. तो उसके लिए we try to create the clinical trial summaries. Then manufacturing में अगर आते हैं हम, so we are trying to understand the manufacturing capabilities and the capacity of our competitors. And then in terms of marketing, we try to understand what are their sales force team, how they are trying to basically have an interaction with their MSLs, what exactly are their reimbursement and the payers strategies with the government agencies, what type of a label they are having it, and on basis of what they have got the approval. So that is called as the endpoint analysis. Okay. Then we have the LCM phase. LCM means when the drug is launched, उसके बाद हम क्या देखते हैं? We try to understand what is any new patent or IP extension they are going in for, any new type of formulation they are actually eyeing for, any type of regulatory issues they are trying to basically understand, any commercial priorities they want to focus. कि basically अब हमारा product तो जी इतना तो अब demand में है नहीं, but still we can see कि हम एक LCM strategies कैसे create करें अपने product के लिए. So that is something very important what they are actually the customers are looking for. Okay, Can we move on to the next slide? So these are all the type of data which we require, like intellectual property. I've already explained you कि यूरोप पेटेंट ऑफिस में भी नीड 18, क्योंकि पब्लिक डोमेन्स पे 18 months के बाद डेटा आता है, while in US it's not before the 18 months. यूरोप में 12 months तक ज्यादातर आ जाता है. And why this information is important? Because when the product is launched, and if we want to create any biosimilar to our competitor product, then the market need and size, which I think Priyamvada also mentioned. Why it is important? Updating the to keep an updated information about the product and the disease area is quite important, and to share that information with the scientific advisory board, with the commercial brand team, it is quite important. Then there is a partnership obviously to basically understand कि हमारा जो कस्टमर या हमारा कॉम्पिटिटर है, क्या वो किसी छोटी कंपनी के साथ या किसी एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन का पार्टनरशिप तो नहीं कर रहा, और अगर कर रहा है तो उस पार्टनरशिप का क्या टेक अवेज है या उससे क्या इम्पैक्ट आगे होने वाला है, बिकॉज दिस इज क्वाइट इम्पॉर्टेंट टू एनालाइज आवर पोजीशनिंग और आवर कमर्शियल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ आवर प्रोडक्ट. देन वी गो टू द कॉम्पिटिटिव जो एनवायरनमेंट है. कॉम्पिटिटिव एनवायरनमेंट हमें मिलता है बेसिकली, हम कॉन्फ्रेंसेज अटेंड करते हैं तो केओएल्स वगैरह के साथ सेशंस होते हैं हमारे. वी ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड किस टाइप की प्रमोशनल एड कैंपेन्स दे आर डूइंग इट. So that also comes under the marketing and the distribution part, कि इन्होंने कितने नंबर ऑफ सेल्स रैप्स हायर कर रखे हैं. इसके अंदर हम हायरिंग का बहुत एक इंपॉर्टेंट रोल होता है. हम कभी बार कंपनी की जॉब पोस्टिंग्स को असेस करते हैं. हम ये देखते हैं कि उनके किस लेवल पे एमएसएल्स हैं. अब जैसे सेल्स रैप्स हैं तो कितने रीजनल ब्रांड मैनेजर्स हैं, कितने सेल्स रैप्स हैं, किस रीजन में हैं. So this help us to understand the evaluation of segmentation and targeting in position of our asset versus their asset. Okay. Then there are the technology opportunities, कि basically किसी कंपनी के साथ या किसी इंस्टीट्यूशन के साथ कोई नई टेक्नोलॉजी पे तो नहीं वो काम कर रहे, तो इसकी वजह से हमें रिस्क है. So these are all the focuses. Can we go back to the next slide? Then obviously reimbursement and regulatory issues. So basically अगर हमारे कॉम्पिटिटर का प्रोडक्ट को रेगुलेटरी एक्सेलरेटेड अप्रूवल मिल गया. एक्सेलरेटेड अप्रूवल होता है कि नॉर्मल अप्रूवल टाइम जैसे यूएस में 12 months है, एंड यूरोप के अंदर हमारा 210 से 270 डेज होता है. ओके. अगर किसी प्रोडक्ट को 8 months में 6 months में मिल गया बिकॉज उसको फेज 2 में ऑर्फन ड्रग स्टेटस मिला था एंड ब्रेक थ्रू डेजिग्नेशन था, उसके पीछे क्या रीजन है ऐसा? या अगर वो प्रोडक्ट FDA ने, EMA ने, they haven't approved yet and they are asking for more data and उनका approval delay हो गया. What exactly is the reason? So that we can also match up with their data and we can try to learn some, we can have some takeaways from their shortcomings and from their mistakes. कोई lessons अगर हमें learn करने हैं, so that will be very important. Financing opinions. Financing options के opinion है, for example एक startup company है, small size pharma company in US, they want to develop a product but they realize that हमसे भैया हमसे ना हो पाएगा ये clinical and commercial development के लिए, we need fundings. So what they will be doing, they will be doing a competitive intelligence, trying to understand कि हमारे product के similar pattern पे किस company ने they have actually tried to develop these products और कौन हमें venture capital या funding में which can help us. So try to understand and how we can actually leverage the negotiation point with that firm. So for that we need to understand the data with respect to the venture capital and funding. The human capitals I have already mentioned you, the salaries of the staff, the resourcing pattern, what type of team they are hiring. So that's up to them. Great. Can we move to the next slide? So these are some of the examples which I have mentioned, like what exactly the type of bad and good CIs. So this is a readable pattern for you. Okay, so can we move to the 33rd slide? So basically there is one example of creative thinking. CI करते time, why we need to have a creative thinking. Now if you can go through the example, this is a very simple example. So this is one of my experience actually. While attending a symposium, so I was there in Atlanta in 2012, and I was there in San Francisco and Chicago at around about 2013. So I realized that one of the, we heard that जो clinical trial investigator है, so he's trying to, post some comments about some treatment pathway about our diabetes drug. So I'll be not naming the name of the client, obviously. And we realized the point what he's actually mentioning it अपनी slide text के अंदर, so that can be the potential area of the future development. So when I returned back to the hotel, I realized कि I actually just try to find out कि basically वो speaker कहाँ से associated है. Slides के अंदर तो it was mentioned that he was the part of Wisconsin जो university diabetes से he was related. But I realized कि उसका हमारे competitor के साथ association था पुरानी कंपनी से. और कैसे कि जो हमारे कॉम्पिटिटर का प्रेसिडेंट था उसके साथ इस साइंटिस्ट ने अपने एकेडमिक टाइम में एक रिसर्च वर्क कंडक्ट किया था. ओके. और उसके बाद भी रियलाइज कि जो बेसिकली हमारा जो कॉम्पिटिटर है उसको काफी फंडिंग भी मिल रहा है बाकी दूसरी कंपनी से. We conducted an additional research, so actually I tried to deep in dive more, and then I actually realized that fact कि ट्विटर के अंदर he actually mentioned कि basically इनकी जो यूनिवर्सिटी है they are actually trying to collaborate with this particular company for development of this particular drug, and उनका फंडिंग नेगोशिएशंस अभी चल रहा है. So I shared it with my customer जिस फार्मा कंपनी के लिए हम काम कर रहे थे, and that was very useful for them. So this is called as a creative thinking benefits. Okay, this actually helps because you need to have a good storyline. You should have, like you are creating a movie. आप ये देखो कि आप मूवी कैसे प्लान आउट कर रहे हो. So outcome, first you have to understand what will be the outcome of your data. Outcome से पहले आपको क्या पेन एरियाज या लैग एरियाज या वो चीज क्यों हो रही है. So 3 why, what I have told you कि why, when and where. This is important. And how, what you are doing it. So that is equally so. Consider all these 4 to 5 factors and then try to understand and analyze your data कि ये चीज क्यों हो रही है और ये अगर हो रही है तो कैसे हो रही है, and then try to understand the impact of it. Another example is like, as a simple example, let's assume that a company would likely to know that how much competitor is going to spend next year marketing this drug X. Obviously, guys, clearly this answer to this question would not be easily accessible to the public. Okay? However, we can estimate it by collating together variety of CI data. So we can try to understand the revenues of these drugs by the company's annual reports. Okay. Then we can go to some other analyst या जो investment bankers reports होंगे like JP Morgan, Cowen, and then we try to understand कि if in case वो competitor they are able to spend something on this particular product, then combining this data we can understand that what exactly there can be the marketing budget of this product. So this way we need to understand कि how we need to actually create the data. Data सीधा नहीं मिलेगा. So you have to understand the attributes or the subsections. So try to funnel down the question and then try to understand how you can get the data. So first try to get the step 1. First आपके पास question आया है. Questions को try to break down in the 3W format: why, when, where and how. उसके बाद उन questions को आप further question में split करोगे. Then try to find out the questions. Then try to find out the answers for those questions जो आपको funnel करके मिले. और वो डेटा को जोड़ते जोड़ते try to collect the answer for the main question. Okay, great. So can we move on to the next slide? Okay guys, so I'll give you a couple of minutes, just go through it, and the one who will be giving me an answer, so I think so that will be so that person will be into my radar list, or one of वो मेरे key list में आ जाएगा, to basically जिस पे I can actually with to whom I can help him a lot. So this is one of the question. I request all of the students to just go through all these pointers and then try to answer me कि which of the following you consider in 12 में से what is the appropriate CI process, what do you think. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes. So meanwhile, you can just go through all these points and then we can get back after a couple of minutes. So are we guys done?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do we have to
Yes, sir.
select multiple points or is it one or single points?
It is up to you totally.
Sir, can I
Sir, I would
answer?
like to say.
Yes, sir.
I think one by one we can go. So first we can go with Shubham.
Okay.
So, sir, while going in unethical way, I will select second point, which is picking up competitors' internal meeting notes, then picking up competitors' document, and the next one is reading information about competitors on laptop or someone sitting next to you in plane. These are unethical points. Then while going with ethical way, picking up competitors' product and marketing information, then speaking up with experts about competitor products, and then about participating in online chats with competitors, sales reps to learn about their activities.
Okay. So if you can just, actually, if you can just brief me the point numbers, what exactly you feel is the unethical and potentially illegal, and what are the points which can be legal but can be unethical, and what are the points which can be ethical and legal also.
So unethical points are 2, second one, third one, and the seventh one. These are unethical points. I think it also
Okay.
illegal also, and the legal ones are first one, then fourth one, then fifth one, and the next one is eighth one, 8 point. So
Okay,
this
so
can
why
be.
you think, that the paying experts on the honorarium include the sensitive? So do you think that this is the legal and the ethical one? Because it is not allowed to pay bribes.
Sir, but I think getting information and competent intelligence is more important than legal and illegal things.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shubham.
So can I
Any
go
other?
next?
Sir, may I?
Absolutely.
Can I go,
Shushmita,
sir?
yeah, please
So
go.
may I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Shushmita and then Danish, yeah. So Shushmita.
So I would like to go with point number 4 and 8. Fourth is that speaking with experts about competitor products at a trade or professional conference. And eighth point is that is
So
including
these are the
competitive
so
questions, ethical ones, sir. including competitive questions in job interviews with competitor employees. So I feel these two are appropriate CI process. So I would only stick to these 2 points.
Okay, I'll be getting back to you soon on this, Shushmita. Thank you so much for your response. Danish?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I have marked some here. 12 topics are given. So I have divided a 3 into legal, unethical, and cannot be unethical. So what I have marked legal as, sir. First one is picking a competitor's product and marketing information. It cannot.
So just give me the numbers.
Sir,
So if you
legal
can
I
just
have
give me the
marked.
numbers.
Sir, legal I have marked 1, 4, 6, and 10.
Okay.
And
So
yes.
okay. I just wanted to interrupt you. So guys, do you know the meaning of legal and ethical, first of all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Legal, it's again it is not against the law, and unethical means it can be considered as a practice which is what we can say.
So which
I'm
is
not
morally
getting.
not
It
correct.
is not
Inappropriate.
not
Immoral thing,
morally
basically.
correct, sir. Immoral activity.
Simple words, legal means law.
Law, yes, sir.
ठीक है, अगर आप किसी के साथ ब्रेकअप करते हो तो वो लीगल है, बट वो एथिकल नहीं है, राइट?
Yes, sir.
So that is
Yes, sir.
the difference. Yeah. So now I want from you guys is like जैसे Shushmita ने clearly mentioned कि legal and ethical can be 1 and 8. And through Shubham I have got 1, 4, 7 and 8. Okay. 1, 4, 5 and 8. Okay. So Danish, I want to understand from you what are the points which are both legal and ethical now.
Legal and unethical.
Legal and ethical both.
Legal and ethical. Sir, first one which can be picking a competitor's product and marketing information. It can
only
be
the numbers. I need only the numbers.
Oh,
only
yes,
the
yes.
numbers because
Yes, sir.
बहुत सारे students हैं ना, yeah.
Yes, sir.
The point number 1.
Yes, sir. We can consider it as a point number 1.
Okay. Anything else? Or just the point 1?
Sir, I think 4 can also be legal and ethical, as we are just asking, discussing about it, sir. And
great. Anything else?
Sir, 10 can be also legal. As we are participating only in their activities, we are not doing anything. So 10 can also.
So what is your final uptake?
Sir, 1,
how many
4,
numbers?
Sir, legal
1, 4
and ethical can be 1, 4 and 10. Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other wants to try this?
Yes,
Sir, I have 3 heading.
Sir.
I have 3 heading, that is legal. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Hi Kashif. So I just need only the pointers
Yes,
which are
sir.
legal and ethical both. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have marked 3 headings, that is legal and ethical. And according to me, I think that point number 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9 are legal as well as ethical. And I have marked some unethical and illegal points also. That
no, I don't want that. I only need legal and ethical. Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Any other? Anyone else?
Can I go next?
Priyamvada. Yeah, please go ahead. Priyamvada.
Sir, according to me, 1, 4, and 10 are both legal and ethical. Conditions are applied in 1 and 10, or only if the competitors know that we are gaining information about them. And 4 is completely legal and ethical.
Great.
So
So
may
1,
I?
4, and 10 for Priyamvada. Yes, Ramya. Yeah.
So first, second, fourth, ninth, and 12th.
First, second, fourth, ninth, and 12th. Oh my God, so many. So are you Deepak? I guess, huh?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Okay, great.
may I answer this question?
Great.
Sir, may I go
Now
next?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now
Sir,
yeah.
for me, sir, I think legal and ethical should be 1, 4, 6, and 8.
Okay. Thank you so much, Navid. Anyone
Welcome.
else?
Yes, sir.
Sir, may I?
Who's this? Rajat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rajat, please go on.
Sir, for legal and ethical, it's 1, 4, and 6, as well as 11. Because, sir, in CI
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll be
Yes,
not
ma'am.
asking the reasons. I'll just need the
Yeah.
numbers. Okay, great.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So the last one, if we can have it.
Sir, may I?
Yes, sir.
So 1, 4, 6, and 10.
Okay, great. So I want
Look,
you
can I?
guys, yeah, so I want if you can just type in on the message, both legal and ethical. So as far as I remember, it's like for Danish, it was 1, 4, I guess. 1, 4, and 8, I guess.
Yes, sir. No, sir, it was 1, 4, and 10. No, no.
Okay, so you can.
1, 4, and 10. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll give you a minute, guys. Just type it, the numbers. जिन्होंने बोला है वो भी please type it because I'm not able to remember your numbers. Sorry for this, my
No,
bad memory, but
no issues there.
yeah. It's 16:51 by my clock, so I'll give you a minute to type your answers. Nowadays they're saying सारे ही हैं. 1, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God. Okay, guys, time up. Okay. So, Rahul Kumar, may I know who's this? Rahul, if you can just open your video.
Yes, sir.
I'm not able to see your face actually.
Yes, sir.
Great, Rahul. So what is your rationale behind 1 and 4?
Because sir, the rationale behind that, these are in we can go through these points, sir, because they are also will be in public domain. We can act, and there is no any some information is there, so that we can driving it from the competitors, and the competitor will not even feel reluctant. If we go through the point number 6, it is written that the doctors connecting competitor clinical trials. Then why the doctor will give any information about their client clinical trials, sir? So I think 1 and 4 will be the only answers for both legal and
Great.
ethical point of view.
Great. So why don't 8th and 10th? First, why not
Sir,
8th?
yes, sir. In job means in that point that in job interview, if we are asking the question means that we are breaking their if previous employees and their companies about their whatever we can say. हम मतलब हम उनके लीगल को वो कर रहे हैं ना सर, मतलब कि उनके इन्फॉर्मेशन को ब्रेक करवा रहे हैं, मतलब उनके साथ जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था कि हमारी इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर नहीं करनी है, तो वो एक तरह से हम इन्फॉर्मेशन निकलवा रहे हैं जो कि सही नहीं है. एंड इन 10th पार्टिसिपेटिंग ऑनलाइन चैट मींस सर हम चैट में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं मींस एक तरह से रेप्स से हम इन्फॉर्मेशन निकलवा रहे हैं. वो रेप्स क्यों ही इन्फॉर्मेशन हमें देगा कि हमारी मार्केटिंग कैसे जा रही है, हमारी प्रोडक्ट कैसे जा रहे हैं, मतलब.
Okay.
तो एक तरह से ये सही तो है नहीं लीगली.
Okay, fair enough. Danish, can you be on screen?
Yes, sir. I am on the screen. Yes, sir.
Okay. So 10th का क्या reason है आपका? कि why it should be legal and ethical?
Just a second, sir. Sir, the 10th. Just a second, sir. It's a message. 10th one is participating in online chat with a competitor sales representative to learn about their activity. Sir, here the I have marked it as a legal as well as ethical, because here we are participating here with the sales representative. So they all know about every us. The means who am I? If I am participating with some medical representative or other representative who are working, so they know me. And if we are participating means it doesn't seem that we are participating just for the sake of their what are the working areas or what are their like activities. We are participating in order to gain a knowledge of in order to gain the knowledge of a market and everything that seems to be ethical. It doesn't seem that we will be having an unethical practice here. So I have marked it as also as a ethical, sir.
And why this 1 and 4?
Sir, picking a competitor's product and marketing information. Sir, as sir, the name of that is Sun Tzu. As you says,
Hmm.
the Sun Tzu. It was said in the last session. You also said that there was a 3 sentences was there. If you know about your product and you don't know about your competitor product, so you can't do have a market stand for the longer period of time. That's the reason that I have picked the first product, that is picking a competitor product and a marketing information. Without their information, we are unable to get the knowledge, and we are unable to make a market stand of our product also. And fourth one is speaking with the expert about competitor products. Sir, as we know, they are an expert and they also know us. So we are just speaking with the about their competitor product at a trade or professional conference. Means if we are at a conference, so if we are discussing about the product only, we also know that they cannot disclose every information. We are just making us a simple conversation or a simple discussion, so that we can get some idea or any things that we get that we will be benefited them. So that's the reason I have
Great.
6, 4, and 10. Thank you, sir.
Good answer. Shushmita, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you can also open your video.
Yes, sir. So,
And you
sir,
can,
I
if you
chose.
can throw some
Yes, sir.
light on, no, let me complete. So
Yes.
my question is why you have chosen eighth? I think
So,
you choose
8
1, 4,
point
and
is,
8. So
yes, sir. 8th is including competitive questions in job interviews with competitor employees. I think you only said this in the previous, in a few previous slides, that we can, sometimes it's that they can manipulate us and give some wrong information. So we have to be smart enough to put questions like that when we are interacting with them. So that is why I chose this point.
okay. Now I want to contradict in this. First of all, I didn't say that we have to conduct an interview with them. Okay.
Oh, yes,
So
sir. Okay, sir.
so I mentioned that when we are having an interaction with those guys, so interaction उनके साथ हमारी, क्योंकि आजकल वर्चुअल है, ठीक है,
Yes.
सो वर्चुअल में वी कैन हैव चैट्स थ्रू
Yes.
कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में, जैसे राइट नाउ वी आर हैविंग इट. सो जितनी मेडिकल जो कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हो रही हैं, सो दैट इज एट जूम. So there, if any expert is there, so we can connect, so we can throw our questions at this online chatbot, and we can
Yes,
ask
sir.
question. That is fine. वो the respondent, irrespective, is giving right or the wrong answer. So that is his or her choice. So we can't force, or we cannot
Yes,
imply,
sir.
we cannot actually force them to give us the
Yes.
answers.
No, sir.
It is up to
Definitely not.
them. Yeah, so it is up to them to provide the answers, but it is up to us to evaluate whether that answer is having a strong rigid reasoning or not. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
And you can't, because eighth is also illegal. The fact is that you are conducting an interview. Now try to empathize. For example, if I, Nikhil, if I call you for an interview and I ask you कि some information which is not related to your job, but something related to that which is sensitive, or which is
Yes,
confidential
sir. Yes,
to
sir.
your
Yes, sir.
part. So you are not aware that I am taking an interview, what are my motivations or the intentions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
this is
I get
illegal
your point. Yes, sir.
now.
Yes, I get your point. Yes, sir.
Great. Mr. Obed, are you there? Mr. Rakel, are you there? Okay, I'm not sure if Akhil is there. Uh, so guys, the right answer is basically 1, 4, and 10. Why I have marked 10 now? Because owing to the COVID pandemic, things have gone virtual. So earlier we used to think that, okay, online chats or not, but yes, now we can consider that. So who's the one who gave the answers 1, 4, and 10?
Sir, it's me.
So
It's
my
Danish. Yeah.
answer was also the same.
Uh, who's this? If Priyamvada.
The Priyamvada.
Okay, so your answers were also the 1, 4th and 10th?
Yes, sir.
So even I gave those answer, but I have few more answer along with that.
Yeah. So basically, Priyamvada and Danish. Good job, guys. I'm happy that at least couple of persons they have tried to understand. And your Danish, your reasoning was quite right on the basis of fact that you mentioned. So I truly appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So any other questions? Any other questions, guys? Any other queries which you want me to answer? I
Sir,
can spend 5 minutes.
I just have a
So
simple.
can
Yes, Sushmita, you can.
no,
One
please
by
you
one.
go
Yeah.
first.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have a question. We are discussing in a previous slide that if we are working on a product and of a which is based on the competitor, like my competitor has a product in in the market, and we are launching a product, but suddenly due to some reason our competitor has withdrawn the product from the market, or due to some reason he has withdrawn the product from the market. So what are our strategy and what we can do in order to make our product in a to launch in a market or something? Means what would be our policy, or what would be our strategy? Like as our we are I have like your company has launched a product, and that is having a good response in the market. So I also thought that I should also make a product. Like my company think that I should have to launch that product only. So I am starting the
Okay.
clinic.
Got it.
Okay, sir.
So now there are two companies, company A and company B. Okay. Now let's take this example. Company A launched its product in 2018 or 19. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The company B is our company. Okay. The company B is our company, and basically we have launched a product in 2021. Okay. Now all of a sudden in 2022, the company A has discontinued its product from the market. Okay.
Yes, sir.
First of all, this is a part of a go-to marketing strategy. Okay. कंपनी अचानक से अपना प्रोडक्ट कभी भी डिसकंटिन्यू नहीं करेगी. सो दिस इज द गेम ऑफ सीआई व्हिच कम्स इनटू पिक्चर. अगर हम उस कंपनी ए के प्रोडक्ट को बेंचमार्क लेके चल रहे थे अपने क्लिनिकल फेज से, तो वी मस्ट हैव बीन आल्सो ट्रैकिंग द रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट कि जब वो प्रोडक्ट 2018 में लॉन्च हो गया है तो इसका मतलब उसका क्लिनिकल डेटा अच्छा है ना, एफिकेसी और सेफ्टी अच्छा है, कंप्लायंस अच्छा है, सब अच्छा है.
Yes,
हम उसका रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा एनालाइज कर रहे हैं पिछले 1-2 सालों से, क्योंकि हमने ये एंटिसिपेट कर रखा है कि हमारा प्रोडक्ट भी 2021 में लॉन्च होगा. ठीक है.
yes.
अब दो फैक्टर्स डिपेंड करते हैं, या तो उसके रियल वर्ल्ड डेटा में कुछ ऐसी चैलेंजेस आए हैं एफिकेसी को लेके. अब जैसे ज़ेलजेंस एक प्रोडक्ट है, आई एम नॉट प्रीटी श्योर इफ यू गाइस आर अवेयर, ज़ेलजेंस एक जैक टारगेट होता है, उसको इनहिबिट करता है. सो ज़ेलजेंस इज अ जैक1 टारगेट जिसको इनहिबिट करते हैं, एंड इट वाज लॉन्च फॉर आर्थराइटिस इन 2013. बिलियंस पैसे कमाए उसने यूएस यूरोप में, बिलियंस एंड बिलियंस. उसके बाद वो प्रोडक्ट सोरियासिस जैसे डर्मेटाइटिस और सारी इन्फ्लेमेटरी कंडीशंस में भी आया. ऑल ऑफ सडन 2020 में इनकी एक रियल वर्ल्ड सर्वेलेंस स्टडी चल रही थी, ओरल स्टडी 7 इयर्स की. उसमें ये पता लगा कि ये जो जैक इनहिबिटर है ना, जितने भी जैक इनहिबिटर्स हैं, ये कार्डियोवास्कुलर पेशेंट्स में मॉर्बिडिटी कॉज करते हैं, रिस्क प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, और ब्लैक बॉक्स वार्निंग भी है इनकी मेलिएसिस और ट्यूमर्स के साथ. तो ये मार्केट की वैल्यू तो खत्म हो गई. उसके साथ साथ जो बाकी लोग प्रोडक्ट बना रहे थे ना अपने जैक इनहिबिटर्स वाले, जो 2020 में लॉन्च कर रहे थे, उनकी यूएस एफडीए ने अप्रूवल डेट पोस्टपोन कर दी. तो बेसिकली यहाँ चैलेंज ये आया सीआई जो फ्रेटर्निटी को, कि बेसिकली हमने फाइजर की रियल वर्ल्ड स्टडी जो 7 साल से चल रही थी, जिसमें 20,000 लोग थे लॉन्च के बाद, हमने उसको एनालाइज करा ही नहीं. फिर एक ऑन्कोलॉजी से कनेक्ट करा, उसने ये कहा कि बेसिकली ये प्रोडक्ट सिर्फ जैक1 को करता है, टारगेट करता है. और कई लोग जो ऑलरेडी हार्ट पेशेंट थे ना, उनमें ये सिम्टम्स आए थे. बाकी जो प्रोडक्ट्स जैक1 और जैक2 में बने हैं ना, उनमें से ये सिम्टम्स नहीं आ रहे. और हमारे लिए बड़ा जरूरी है कि हम किस टाइप के पेशेंट्स को टारगेट करना चाहते हैं। तो अब जो इन प्रोडक्ट्स की जो लेबलिंग आई है ना, अब जो नए जैक प्रोडक्ट्स आ रहे हैं उनकी लेबलिंग ऐसे आ रही है कि ये प्रोडक्ट्स तभी यूज होंगे जब बहुत सीवियर कंडीशंस होगी पेशेंट्स की, और जो ऑलरेडी स्टैंडर्ड ड्रग्स जो हैं जैसे टीएनएफ प्रोडक्ट्स हैं वो अगर फेल होते हैं तो तब ये जैक प्रोडक्ट्स हम यूज करेंगे। तो एफडीए ने लेबल चेंज कर दिया उसका। तो जेलजेंस डिसकंटिन्यू भी नहीं हुआ, मार्केट में अभी भी चल रहा है। यूरोप में ऐसी चैलेंज नहीं है क्योंकि यूरोप पेशेंट्स और उनकी एथनिसिटी अलग है, उनके जीन्स रिसेप्टेंस अलग है प्रोडक्ट को लेके, तो उनमें चैलेंज ऐसा नहीं आया। सो लाइक आई सेड, अगर आपका कॉम्पिटिटर ये 19 में हुआ है डेवलप, 19 में लॉन्च हुआ है, तो आपको उसकी रियल वर्ल्ड मॉनिटरिंग भी ट्रैक करनी है। आपको ये भी देखना है कि वो मार्केट में कैसे बिहेव कर रहा है, और आपको फिर ये भी चेक करना है 2021 में कि वो प्रोडक्ट किस वजह से डिसकंटिन्यू हुआ। क्या रियली सेफ्टी एफिकेसी की वजह से हुआ है? ऐसा तो नहीं कि कंपनी ही बैंकरप्ट हो गई, उसके पास मतलब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं, क्या पता वो प्रोडक्ट बना ही नहीं पा रही, क्या पता उनका मटेरियल ही नहीं आ रहा, क्या पता उनके पेशेंट्स ही सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहे, क्या पता उनको पेयर्स के साथ नहीं मिल रही, क्योंकि हो सकता है प्रोडक्ट बहुत एक्सपेंसिव हो, जो पॉपुलेशन खरीदने वाली है वो अर्बन हो, पूरे मार्केट एक्सेस ही नहीं अच्छा हुआ कंपनी का। मार्केट एक्सेस क्या होता है? जब प्रोडक्ट आपका पूरे मार्केट तक एक्सेस करता है, डीप जाता है। तो ये फैक्टर्स हमें फिर अंडरस्टैंड करने होते हैं थ्रू हैविंग द डेटा, उसी को फिर हम सीआई प्रोसेस कहते हैं। तो लाइक आई सेड, it's an ongoing process. We have to track each and everything about our product progress, and about the competitor's product, no matter it is launch or no matter it is not launch. So that is the game plan. So we need to understand कि उसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड कैसे चल रहा है बिफोर और आफ्टर लॉन्च, और साथ साथ में पैरेलली वो क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ कंपनी में क्या क्या हो रहा है। तो दैट इज कॉम्पिटिटर का जो डायनामिक्स है वो भी आएगा, इंडस्ट्री डायनामिक्स भी आएगा, और आपका जो है सेल्फ एनालिसिस कंपनी का वो भी आएगा।
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks. Anyone else? Any other questions? Guys, any other questions before we wrap up?
So I wanted to ask about what type of jobs are available for people who work for CI. I mean, do they work for consulting companies, or they work in a particular company which is a pharmaceutical company already, or they work for as a freelancer also? So how do they work?
Okay. Priyamvada, I was actually expecting this question. So basically, job opportunities in CI depends upon the company to company. Like for example, majority of the people, I'll be not saying 100%, but yes, majority of the people after their pharma graduation or the post graduation, they enter into this consulting domain, and they either be working in the commercial analytics, like in forecasting or marketing analytics, or they will be working for the CI expert. Okay. Now in CI, either we are supporting the customers, either we are working for some consulting firms, whether we are supporting different blue chip pharma companies, or we are working for some one company. Like for example, right now I'm working for Adamant Next, which is the consulting company. Prior to this, I work for GSK. So GSK का खुद का CI department होता है जिसके अंदर we can work. Similarly, we are having Novartis, we are having other companies also. We are having offices in India where the people are actually can work it out. Freelancing opportunities, it's only available for the consulting people who are actually working, who are actually supporting different blue chip pharma companies as a vendor. Okay. Now coming to the Indian companies. For example, if some person has joined Amcure Pharma, and for example, if someone has joined, Sun Pharma, yeah, Mankind Pharma. Okay. So basically, their team now, like I said earlier, also, so their business model is totally dependent upon the generic drug revenues. So basically, so they are not having the exclusive CI department, but yes, their regional brand managers, their marketing managers, they have a very pivotal role in conducting the CI versus their competitors. So there, a CI expert can play a role in this Indian pharma companies. Okay. I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sir, one question I want to ask.
Yep. Please go ahead, Rahul.
Yes, sir. Sir, how management consulting is different from pharma consulting? Because if we see the profile of management consulting, where the big four companies or MBB companies came to hire the MBA graduates, they have a consulting role. Like their work profile is entirely different at what we doing in the pharma consulting. So how is different, sir?
So it's the difference is between. So I want to ask something from you. So do you know what is the difference between riding a bicycle and riding a multi-pilot passenger plane?
Sir, yes, it's entirely different. One has to gain expertise, and it other has to trained and educated for that as well.
Okay, so riding a bicycle means you are basically a sole person who is responsible and accountable for the project management or for the product management. Okay, you are dealing with finances, you are dealing with the marketing managers, you are dealing with the commercial team, you are dealing with the sales reps. But when you are riding a passenger, or sorry, when you are taking 300, 400 passengers on a plane, it means you are reporting to brand managers also, you are reporting to franchises teams also, you are reporting to the clinical teams also, you are reporting to the medical directors, you are reporting to the clinical trial team also. In this case, a pharma consulting person plays a role. So they need to support MSLs, they need to support the QOLs, they need to support the regulatory team, they need to support the brand team, they need to support the early stage team. So they are not only confined to the product management, but yes, they are being confined, but they are being expanded to the overall drug life cycle of the product. Management or the product management or the management consulting is mostly been related to how actually we are actually able to leverage our pre-launch planning about the drug and how we are able to manage the finances of our product and for our disease area or with respect to our company finances. But when it comes to pharma consulting, it actually has a big umbrella जिसमें clinical data, patient data, technology data, partnership data, sales data, everything will be there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Guys, couple of questions. Thank you. And guys, couple of questions, and then we can wrap up here. Yes, Shreyans, please.
Sir, it is always like we collect in competitive intelligence, we always collect data through the ethical sources, or we can go into the unethical sources also.
See, you can go with the unethical sources. Like if you can see here, the point 2, 6, 7, 11, and 12. So they are legal, but they are not ethical. So it's up to you. So unethical, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You can do it. I repeat again, the point 2, 6, 7, 11, and 12. They are legal. No one is stopping you. You will be not being hanged by the court of law. But you won't be getting the results because हम ये कहते हैं कि अगर हम स्मार्ट है ना तो दुनिया भी हमसे ज्यादा स्मार्ट है. Market में everyone knows what is CA है, okay? The market knows actually what exactly you are trying to investigate or what you are trying to envisage. So the chances of getting a success due to these unethical measures is very less. I'm not saying 0%, but it is comparatively low when we consider the points here like 1, 4, and 10 basically.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
And 3, 5, 8, 9, yeah, and 3, 5, 8, 9 are unethical and potentially illegal.
So, sir, basically, we have to go with the ethical route only.
See, it depends on person to person. Like I firmly believe that every human is different. We are all living in a jungle, and in jungle, every animal is different, and every species has its own speciality. Okay, so it depends that ultimately what we want. We need a data. We need a good data so that we can create a good competitive insights our customers can have a solid competitive advantage, and then we can help them to create an efficient strategic decisions. So it's up to you. No matter by the time until and unless it is legal and everything, you can go by the method. But yes, ethical and legal results will be definitely producing a far more beneficial, results. This is my experience. This is just based on my experience. You can
Yes, sir.
explore. If you succeed, it's fine. If you're not, then you will be coming to know by default. Yeah. So legal and ethical are the two prominent ways of conducting CR. That's my only takeaway, key takeaway. Yeah. Guys, any last question? So before we can wrap up.
I think so. That is all. Okay, Shubham, you can go.
Sir, what is key opinion leaders? Sir, who are these people actually?
Okay, so Shubham, before coming to this question, I want to understand that have you attained my first session?
Yes, sir. I have attended.
Okay, so I have mentioned explicitly there what exactly are the QOLs, what exactly they are. So the QOLs are the key opinion leaders. Okay, now आपको key opinion leaders से क्या लग रहा है, मतलब term समझ के क्या लग रहा है आपको, what exactly who they can be?
They can be experienced people in the market.
मोटा मोटा अगर हम कहें, they are the senior doctors and the physicians who help the pharma companies to sell the drugs. Okay, so basically they are the influential doctors who are basically engaged by the industries to advise on the marketing and to help boost the sales of their product. They interact with MSLs. Okay, different consulting firms and analysts also, like जो investment bankers में analysts हैं, they also interact with them to have their opinion कि ये product जब market में आएगा तो कैसा behave करेगा, या already जो product market में है वो कैसा behave कर रहा है अभी, so that companies will be able to manage their strategic decisions effectively and in a timely manner. Okay, and KOLs are actually, they are having an immense knowledge about the specific segment. और KOLs को आइडेंटिफाई करने के फैक्टर्स क्या होते हैं? इट्स लाइक डॉक्टर की रेपुटेशन क्या है मार्केट में, उसका लेवल ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज एंड एक्सपीरियंस, किन के रीजन या किन किन पेशेंट्स को उसने अभी तक ट्रीट किया है और कितनी कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में उसने पार्ट लिया है. सो बेसिकली बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू ट्राई टू हैव द मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंट एंड द एफिशिएंट KOLs, tier 1 KOLs. Okay.
Okay, sir, understood.
Great. Shushmita, I think we are done with this session.
So, yes, so we are actually, I think that are all the questions. So now
sir,
I would like to ask, okay.
Sir, Rishabh Tiwari said, asked about 6th point in chat box. He's trying to speak, but he can't.
Speaking with doctors, conducting competitor clinical trials about their research. See, like I mentioned, this is not illegal and this is unethical because doctors are not responsible actually to basically answer about the clinical trials. So basically doctors, mostly the doctors, they can be the investigators, like principal or the key investigators or the research or the part of the research team for their clinical trials. And if they are conducting a clinical trials with any academic institutions, then obviously they will not be sharing any any research content with them because they have to sign any privacy document with them if in case they are trying to expand with if they're trying to explore some of the new targets. With respect to any current or existing drugs, if they're conducting any clinical trials, you can't force a doctor to share any clinical trial information about their research because they do their research on the private basis. Okay, and it also might offend the doctor or the physician, which also can hamper the pharma company reputation. Okay, अगर आप डॉक्टर्स, अगर फार्मा कंपनी डॉक्टर से नहीं बनाएगी तो ऑब्वियसली यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड, यू कैन एक्चुअली वेरी वेल अंडरस्टैंड कि कल को अगर प्रोडक्ट अवेयरनेस करनी है तो डॉक्टर का कितना इंपॉर्टेंट होता है रोल, बिकॉज दे हैव अ चेन ऑफ एक्सपर्ट्स विद देम. So that's why, as per the nominal norms, it has been considered as not ethical. Rishabh is saying something, sir. 10th point, totally based relationships. And if you ask competitor sales representative, it's not about relationships, Rishabh. The point is that it's the way how you ask the questions. So like I mentioned, so you can't ask the direct questions, okay? No one will give you the answers. No one has time. No one is willing to spend an extra minute on you. On you means on the companies or with the consultants. So it's up to you how you ask the questions. Sometimes you tend to ask those questions which are not sensitive, but those are very basic questions, which is not coming under the confidentiality agreement of the sales reps. So sales reps are comfortable with them, and if they can answer your question, then you can use those answers to create your responses. Okay. So it doesn't depend on the relationships, but it depends on the type of question you are asking from the customer. So the customer can either be sales reps also, or they can be the researchers or the authors who are there in that medical conferences. Hope I am able to make myself clear. Thanks.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you, sir. So now I would like to ask Samir to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Sushmita, again. So it was really an amazing session. And on behalf of the entire fraternity of management, I would like to extend the deepest gratitude to Nikhil sir for enlightening us with his knowledge and expertise. Sir, the short introduction you gave to competitive intelligence was informational to get our hands-on approach in this area. And not only you made it easier for us to understand, but you also made us familiar with how it makes things feasible in the pharma sector. Your elaborations on establishing a CI process and support systems were instructive. You also made it possible for us to discover the role and benefits of CI in driving strategic decisions and market dynamics. The facts you related to and the way you simplified all the tools involved for CI are commendable indeed. We are very fortunate that you have joined us today. Also, I would like to thank all the participants for being avid in today's lecture. I believe it is evident that this session today has made an impact on you, just like the ones in the past. Once again, thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much to all the participants here.
Thank you so much, Samir, and thank you so much to the faculty and to all the students. And I believe this was a wonderful session. And I think the slide number 34 really actually made me confident that you guys are having a tremendous potential. And trust me, guys, when I was 10 years back at your age, I wasn't really aware of all these things. So I'm really happy, and I'm really privileged in being with all of you in your journey. And anyways, you all are free to connect me offline in case you are having any queries with respect to your career, with respect to your if in case you need any directions. I'm always been available via LinkedIn. So thank you so much again. Thank you so much, Samir, for your wonderful words, and it was really motivating and encouraging. Thank you, Ushmita. Your efforts are tremendous. Your proactiveness and your engagement levels are extremely appreciated. And thank you, Akil, and to all the placement committee and the fraternity for giving me an opportunity to contribute a bit into this society. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Wonderful,
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
talking with you all, speaking with you all, and having interaction with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.